Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Brooklyn Technical High School Virtual College Fair. Thank you so much for joining us. We are really excited you are here. Each institution will have 6 minutes to share more about their institution, but we'll be around for the entire session to answer any questions. My name is Catherine, and I will be your facilitator for this session. Before we get started, there are a few housekeeping items to note. First, your camera and microphone are off. You are muted and your video is off. The panelists can't see or hear you. If you have any questions at all, feel free to use the Q&A button to type in your questions to the presenters at any time. They're here, ready and available to answer your questions. This is one of many college presentations being offered tonight, so feel free to check the website for more. And lastly, this session is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/Brooklyn Tech. We are currently in session B3, where my mouse is circling at the moment. And this is also the same order of presentation. So without further ado, I'll get out of the way and introduce our very first representative from New York Institute of Technology.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much, Catherine, and good evening to everybody. Thank you for joining us. My name is Tom Shea. I am one of the admissions advisors at New York Tech. I'm going to share my screen with you and just take us kind of quickly through a snapshot of what New York Tech is all about. So let's just go full screen here. All right, perfect. So obviously, when you're going through your college process, there's some basics that you want to be aware about and, kind of know the makeup of the school, where it's located and, the student body and such. So for us, we're in New York. We're a little bit unique in terms of we have two different campuses in New York. So we have one on Long Island, located in Old Westbury, and then we also have one in New York City, located near Columbus Circle. I describe them as complete opposite worlds from one another. But with that being said, it's what the student wants and what environment they're more comfortable with. The city is obviously a little more fast-paced versus the Long Island campus is more your traditional college campus, where it's an enclosed area where everybody you see is affiliated with the school in one form or another. When we're talking about, how many students do we have, we're a smaller size school, about 3,400 undergraduate students between our two campuses. So that equates to about an 11-to-1 student to faculty ratio. We're also very proud about our student body diversity. No matter what ranking you look at, we're top 3, top 5 sometimes, but usually top 3. And then if there's, a couple takeaways, one of the things that I want you to remember about New York Tech is that we're a very career-oriented, hands-on school. So really, our whole focus is how are we helping our students build the skill set they need to get where they want to be in the future. And those statistics on the right-hand side bear that out in terms of the top 20%, the 94% of graduates employed or continuing education within 6 months of graduation. So definitely keep that in mind. All right, so moving right along, obviously we are an Institute of Technology, but don't let that name throw you off. We do have over 90 different programs in 6 different schools sprinkled throughout New York Tech. So you can see them on the screen now. We are more of a STEM-focused school, so we are a little bit more recognized for our College of Engineering and Computing Sciences, as well as our School of Health Professions. But just, don't get thrown off by the name. Once again, we most likely have something that you're interested in, and there's going to be a lot more variety and kind of, different options for you in the College of Arts and Sciences. All right, so moving right along, something to consider also is if you're looking, when I say career-oriented hands-on, that's for students that really have an idea of what they want to do coming directly out of high school. So we're the type of school that's going to help you kind of hit the ground running in terms of we have some different combined programs where you can actually go for your bachelor's and then transition to whatever the next level is for that program, all in one kind of, motion. So if you look on the left-hand side, those are some of our dual degree programs. Our most recognized one is probably our BSDO, Life Sciences Osteopathic Medicine program, which is a 7-year combined. And once again, these are programs that you really want to have a firm idea of what you want to do moving forward. And also keep in mind, they have some more competitive requirements than our general programs. If you're more so interested in a 4+1, which is more recognized as an accelerated master's degree, then you also have some different options to pursue there. And like I said, we have a lot of different varieties. So as you can see on the screen, anywhere from architecture to an interior design and MBA combination. So once again, just, keep in mind, we have a lot of different options for you. All right, so now one thing to keep in mind with us, and I apologize for being repetitive, but that's what I want to have a sticking point with us, career-oriented, hands-on. With that being said, we're a little bit different in terms of we don't let you double major. There are some schools where, you can kind of double major and take any combination, and that's great if that's what you're looking for. Just keep in mind for us, the curriculum, no matter what major you choose, is kind of already a full plate for you. So it's not practical to have two majors, but we do have minors in place that are going to help you supplement that major education. So you can see on the screen, good amount of variety. Once again, the example I always use is, we're very known for computer science, engineering. So students in that field tend to maybe want to open their own operations. Always great to have a business background as well. So adding a business minor could really benefit you. All right. So obviously, anytime it's a career-oriented, hands-on school, the focus is going to be inside the classroom and making sure we're doing what we need to do to help you get where you want to be. But with that being said, college is also, a big transition period. You want to make sure you're growing as an individual, making friends, having fun, and so on. So we definitely have you covered in that regard, also with all our different student clubs and organizations. So we have your traditional setups from leadership opportunities, professional groups, honor societies. I think where we really are unique is our special interest groups, as well as our intercultural and identity-based clubs. That really speaks to our diversity, as well as our, hands-on nature, and the fact that our students are very professionally based. And it's always tremendous to me and just impressive how kind of, focused they are on their future, which is excellent. So don't get me wrong, we obviously have your intramural sports, club sports, things like that. We have an esports club, which is tremendously popular, but a lot of these things are geared towards, professional networking and so on. All right, so now lastly, before we transition here, I just want to give everybody a snapshot of kind of the tuition, financial aid expectations, things like that. Most important takeaway from this slide is that top left-hand number, tuition, $39,960. That's actually a number that is just a sticker price. So in other words, nobody's really paying it. And you can see 98% of students receive some form of aid, when they were considered at New York Tech. So once again, that price is not really commensurate of what's being paid, and the average financial aid package for incoming students, which is a combination of your merit-based aid, which you'll be considered for, and your financial aid, is around $30,500. So, and you can just take a quick snapshot of how we compare versus local competitors as well. All right, and thank you very much for your time, and just a quick snapshot of some contact information if you need us.
Great, thank you. The next representative is from SUNY New Paltz.
Hello, everyone. My name is Finelli Valerio. I work for the undergraduate admissions at SUNY New Paltz. I'll just be giving you all a quick rundown of all the different things that we have at New Paltz to offer. So first, I always like to talk about what kind of environment it is at New Paltz. And we have over 6,500 students, 300 clubs and organizations, 150 majors and minors, and that includes just the things that are written. So there is a possibility for you to create your own major and for you to kind of explore your own possibilities. For New Paltz, I think that our biggest strength is definitely giving students that option aspect. I know when I first came into college, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And so having that liberty to kind of pursue all of my different passions was really important for me. And New Paltz, because we have 5 schools, business, education, science and engineering, fine and performing arts, and liberal arts and sciences, you are able to do that and really explore all of your interests. Our faculty to student ratio is 15:1. So it does make for small to mid-sized classroom sizes. I myself, when I was a student at New Paltz, was in a classroom with only 7 students. So they can get really small, but I was also in classroom sizes between like 30 and 40, which is about like a typical high school classroom. And those dualities, I think, really help depending on the content that was being taught, as well as being able to stay personable with the professor and having that one-on-one teaching experience and learning experience that I really wanted, as well as having all the opportunities from study abroad. Since we are a SUNY school, we share our study abroad programs with all of the other SUNY schools. And that was really important for me because I knew that I wanted to study abroad early on. And New Paltz has access to over thousands of programs because we're connected to that SUNY system. I went to Belize through SUNY Cortland, and I was able to study almost like a pre-veterinary program, even though I myself was not pre-veterinary. So you can do things like that because we have so much to offer at any point throughout your academic career. So here are our admissions. Typically, when we're looking at high school transcript, we want to make sure that you have or are on track to have 4 years of English, 4 years of history, 3 to 4 years of science, 3 to 4 years of math, and 2 to 4 years of foreign language. We're going to be looking at the trend that you set as a student to freshman, sophomore, and junior year, as well as we're going to be looking at your overall GPA. We typically accept students between a 90 and a 95, but that is not a cutoff. If you are under that GPA range, I still recommend an application because we have a holistic review process, which means we're looking at everything before we make a decision. So next, we're going to be looking at your SAT or ACT scores, 1150 to a 1300, 24 to a 29 for the ACT. Now, the test scores are optional for seniors and I believe juniors for this upcoming year. So that is a decision that's made by SUNY. So if you are wanting to kind of stay up to date, I do recommend looking on the SUNY website for those decisions. But if you'd like to submit them anyway, you can. But again, they are completely optional. There's no trick with that. You can submit them if you want, and we do not consider SAT scores for scholarships. For letters of recommendation, we want 1 minimum, 3 maximum. The first one must come from someone that knows you academically, and the other ones can come from anyone else that knows you either professionally or academically. Last but not least, we're going to be looking at your essay. The essay is the only part of our application process that we get to hear from you, from your own point of view and your voice. So make it interesting, make it fun. Feel free to use any of the prompts that both the Common App and the SUNY app have to offer, but you don't have to use those if you don't want to. So here is our tuition for and just yearly fees. The yearly total for a New York State resident sits at around $23,000. Now these are raw numbers, which means that not everyone pays that. So most students are receiving some kind of financial aid, some kind of scholarship, either from the school or outside of the school. The school does a really great job of trying to find different scholarships for students, as well as from on campus or off campus. But your first semester or your first application season, we do try to give you any kind of academic scholarships for students that have a 93 GPA or higher. We do set you on a first come, first served list. And then after that, we have a bunch of different scholarships from our alumni to different departments that are giving out scholarships. And you can apply to those on a year-to-year basis and get different amounts depending on the scholarship. A lot of our students get their funding from that website, and it's going to be available to you all year long. Now, here are some deadlines. For the early action deadline, the deadline is November 15th. Early action is non-binding, so even if you get accepted to New Paltz, it doesn't mean you have to come to New Paltz. All it really means is that you will get your decision by January 1st, which is really important if you're thinking about joining something like an art program or even the science and engineering program, simply because you just want to know that you're into those programs. If you are considering joining in the science and engineering school or education and math, you do need to have Algebra 2/Trig completed. If you are not thinking about joining any of those, then you do still have to take a third year of math. It just doesn't have to be Algebra 2/Trig. Next, we have the 7-year medical and 7-year optometry programs. These are accelerated 7-year programs. So you will do 3 years at New Paltz and 4 years at another institution, whether you're doing optometry or osteopathic medicine, which is the other option of medical programs. These programs include an extra essay and an interview process due January 15th. And then after that, you get moved on to the different rounds. For the educational opportunity program, the deadline is April 15th. You will need to submit a financial documentation with this program because that is part of being accepted into this program. So just make sure that you're submitting all of that as early as possible so we can get your application moving through the system. Then last but not least is we have the general admission deadlines May 1st. I strongly recommend that students apply November, December, around there if you are a junior, because then you'll have a decision by May 1st, which is also when you have to tell other schools whether or not you're going to their college. Now, my favorite part about New Paltz is definitely our location and the fact that we have so much to offer within the location, internships and all that stuff too. And that is basically the rest of it. And if you have any questions, please write it in the comments, in the chat.
Very helpful, thank you. Just a friendly reminder that if anyone has any questions at all, to feel free to use the Q&A button to type in your questions. Our representatives are here and available to answer your questions. The next representative is from SUNY Oswego.
Thank you, everyone. Hi, my name is Emmanuel Cruz. Everyone calls me Manny. My pronouns are he, him, or his, and I'm actually a counselor here in the Office of Admissions. Also happen to be a proud SUNY Oswego alum. Had an amazing experience, study abroad for an entire semester in Rome, Italy. I did an internship abroad in London, working for a pharmaceutical company. and I was an active member of many organizations, including our Latino student organization. Just to give you folks kind of a general overview of SUNY Oswego, SUNY Oswego is part of the SUNY system. We are the 6th largest four-year campus in the SUNY system. We're located a little north of Syracuse, about 45 minutes away from the city center of Syracuse. Our campus is about 5 hours north of New York City, right on the shores of Lake Ontario. So what you see in the background is actually not an ocean, which is a big thing. A lot of New York City students, when they come up to campus, will say, what ocean is this? It's actually one of the Great Lakes. Our campus occupies a mile of it. So beautiful setting throughout all seasons on our campus. We have about 8,000 students on our campus, 6,700 undergraduate students. Also considered the most residential state university campus in the SUNY system. So what that means is that over 90% of all our students live on our college campus in one of our unique 14 residential communities. So you're looking for that traditional college experience, living in residence halls, eating in dining halls. Oswego is going to probably be one of those type of schools that you may want to take a look at. We've also undergone a major renaissance on our campus. So $1.1 billion invested into brand new academic and residential space. So students are receiving a high quality academic and social experience on their students on our campus. So that includes a brand new dance club on our campus, bowling alley, movie theater, and brand new residence halls across all parts of our campus. So for those who don't know where Oswego is or don't know where Syracuse is, this will give you a pretty good idea. On the far right, you'll see a map of New York State. So we're right in the center part of New York State, easily accessible. So we have direct flights right from Syracuse right into the JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark every single day. We also have an Amtrak and bus station right in Syracuse, so you could catch options there. And we also have an Oswego Express that will bring students directly from our campus right into the 5 boroughs of New York City. Despite being a medium to large campus, you still have that intimate small feel. The average classroom size at Oswego is 24, 17 to 1 student to teacher ratio. We have over 140 majors at Oswego, 250 minors and concentrations. It's okay to not know what you want to do. In fact, 11% of all our students are undeclared, undecided students. To guide students in their process, we have 4 colleges: College of Liberal Arts and Science, a School of Business, a School of Communication, Media and the Arts, and a School of Education. With so many majors, I'm gonna just essentially highlight top majors that we typically get from Brooklyn Tech. For the College of Liberal Arts and Science, our largest program for Brooklyn Tech applicants tends to be for our software engineering, computer electrical engineering with focuses on robotics. We see a lot of students coming in for zoology and our applied psychology and mathematics program. Our School of Business top program for Brooklyn Tech students tend to be accounting, finance, and the risk and insurance management program. And our School of Communication, Media and the Arts, our interactive media program tends to be very popular, which is more focused on graphic design, music, especially with focuses on audio recording and production. And our last and finally school is a School of Education. A lot of interest in our School of Education, especially from Brooklyn Tech students interested in TESOL and adolescent and childhood education. Of course, learning is a big part of it, but it's how you apply it as an undergraduate student. So tons of research opportunities are available at Oswego. We're top school in SUNY for the percentage of students who study abroad. Close to 60% of all our students will take advantage of these opportunities. We have an extensive internship program. All students are required to satisfy an internship in order to graduate from Oswego. Is actually embedded into your undergraduate experience. We're also one of the 3 schools in the Northeast that actually have a co-op experience. So a lot of our students will only go to college for 3.5 years and work full time as part of their college experience. Not all of us are looking to go straight to work after college. So we do have a lot of our students who seek to get involved into service learning. As a residential community, there's a lot going on our campus. Like I said before, over 90% of all our students live on campus, but 96% of all our students stay on campus every single weekend. So you're going to find a lot of clubs and organizations on our campus to keep you engaged. In fact, there's over 200 of them. Every religious organization is available, multicultural groups on our campus, like the Latino Student Organization, the Black and African and Caribbean Student Associations are on our campus. We have students are involved in Greek organization. Less than 10% of our students are involved in Greek organization. So if it's not your thing, you'll find other things to do on our campus. You also have your student government that puts on major activities for students like color runs, concerts, and activities throughout the course of the semester. We also are a pretty diverse campus community. About 40% of all our students identify as non-white. So you're going to find a really robust campus community here to support you as you transition into your college education. As a residential community, there are over 14 residential halls for students to take advantage of. So high rises, gender inclusive housing, quiet residence halls. So there's something for everyone. So if you're looking for something on the lake, you'll find that. If you want to live in a high rise building with 800, 900 students, you'll find that as well. 5 dining halls, all you can eat. The freshman experience is a real thing on our campus. So from 7 a.m. to 1 o'clock in the morning, you have the ability to pop into one of our dining halls. We also have 10 restaurants on campus for you to take advantage of, and you'll have an off-campus dining experience. So food is a big part of the Oswego experience. And quickly, just to go over costs, SUNY school, relatively affordable, $23,722. Just like my colleagues, same thing, admissions process on a Common App, SUNY app, use whatever you feel more comfortable. And we're typically looking for a B+ average student, 1200 on the SAT average, 24 on the ACT. And if you have any questions, feel free to pop those into the chat. Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you. The next representative is from SUNY College at Oneonta.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. So my name is Gabby Donato. I'm one of our admissions counselors here at Oneonta. I am also an Oneonta alumni. So I graduated from Oneonta in 2015 and have been in the admissions office here for about 5 years. So I'm going to give you a quick overview, like my colleagues, of what we offer at Oneonta, and then we'll also be in the chat afterwards if you have additional follow-up questions. Okay, so we can see, right? We're good. Yeah. So I like to start with location. So we are located just on the outside of the Catskill Mountains, about 3.5 hours from the Brooklyn, New York area, halfway between Albany and Binghamton. So those are our 2 largest cities on each side. We are much different from being in New York City. Definitely going to be more of a small town rural setting with a lot of emphasis on outdoor experiences, outdoor programs, trips to the surrounding areas and things like that. So if you're someone who's looking for something different, who's looking to get out of an urban environment and be in more of a traditional college setting, small college town, that's what you'll find in Oneonta. On our main street, you will find a lot of like local businesses, restaurants, and shops. A lot of them are also owned by alumni who have decided to settle down in the Oneonta community and are living and raising their families with us and amongst our college students. We also have a more commercial side of town, which is where you're going to find like more shopping, movie theater, fast food chain restaurants, and more of the stuff that you would see at home, just on a smaller scale. We're also really easily accessible by transportation. So we do have shuttle buses that will take you all around Oneonta. We're also a very walkable area. You can walk from campus to downtown and Main Street in about 10 minutes. And we do have direct bus service back to New York City as well, if you want to come home on the weekends, things like that, and over breaks. At Oneonta, we're a medium-sized school, so we're just under 6,000 students right now, undergraduate students total on campus, with an average class size of about 21. So we try to keep our classes as small as we can so that you have the opportunity to get to know your professors really well, to have class discussions, have interactions, and not really be sitting in large lecture halls. We only have a few like lecture hall style classrooms on campus, and we generally don't fill them. So our classes are more so going to be in that 20 to 30 range, allowing you the opportunity to know your professor on a more personal level. You'll also see them around campus. You'll see them in the community. You'll see them at some of our campus events. So they are very much a part of the campus community, and you'll see them not just in class, but also around and in the area. We offer a wide variety of nationally recognized academic programs, so lots to choose from. If you're not sure what you want to do, that's totally okay. About a quarter of our first year students do start undecided, and we do have a specially trained academic advising staff to kind of help you figure it out. You can also take classes in any major before declaring that major in case you want to test something out before you commit to that. And it's also super easy to change your major if you decide that you want to change your mind. It's a 5-minute process with your academic advisor. So some of the programs that we're most nationally well known for that students will typically come to Oneonta for are our teaching and education programs, our business program, our music industry program, fashion and textiles, dietetics, art and design, sport management are some of the larger programs on campus, as well as like the psych and the bio that are big everywhere. And then we also have a number of cooperative and pre-professional programs. So again, if you have questions about any of the programs, you can always ask in the chat afterwards. But we do look for the same things in terms of admissions for all of our majors. So there's no difference whether you apply as a business major or apply as an education major or apply undecided. We want to see the same thing from all of our students so that if you do need to end up changing your mind, it's pretty seamless to change your major. We also place a very heavy emphasis at Oneonta on experiential learning, like many of the colleges you've heard from. So our experiential learning center on campus is dedicated to making sure that students complete these opportunities before they graduate. Our students at Oneonta are starting these opportunities really early. So you don't have to wait until like junior or senior year to do an internship or to do these hands-on learning experiences. You can do them as a first-year student, as a sophomore student, in a lot of cases, once you've completed a semester or completed your first year. And typically 3/4 of our students, by the time they start senior year, have already done 2 internships or an internship and a research project, or 2 combinations of any of the ways that we offer experiential learning through research, study abroad, internships, and service learning. And these opportunities are available on campus. They're available in the Oneonta community. They're available across New York and across the country, as well as internationally. So depending on whether you want to do it during the semester while you're with us, or you want to do something over the summer while you're home, we can help set you up through all of our partnerships as well. And then student life-wise, we are very much a residential campus at Oneonta, so our students are living on campus with us for at least their first 2 years, and we do offer housing for all 4. The majority of our students at Oneonta are coming from the downstate New York area. So Westchester, New York City, and Long Island make up the greatest population of our students. So they're not really going home on the weekends because it's a little bit far. So we also have things happening for them 7 days a week. We have an app that students can download that shows you every event, every club meeting, every single thing that's going on campus every day. And you can kind of just browse the things that are interested on you, add them to your calendar, to your schedule, and just kind of participate in whatever it is that you are passionate about or interested in. There's over 200 clubs on campus, so plenty to choose from. And our students are also on an unlimited dining plan, so plenty to eat. Bored and hungry are typically what I tell students you should never be. Similarly, we also take the Common App and the SUNY app. A couple of things to keep in mind: we are test optional. We do not use the test scores for scholarship awarding, and we do award merit scholarships. As long as you apply by January 15th, you'll automatically be considered for those merit scholarships. And if you want to see what our current students are up to, you can also follow along on our My Oneonta Life Instagram, which is hosted by a different Oneonta student each week, and they'll take you through their life on campus. So if you have any questions, I will be in the chat, but thank you so much.
Thank you. Before we hear from our last representative, just another friendly reminder that if you have any questions at all, to feel free to use the Q&A button. Any questions at all about the college application process, or even if you have a specific question for any of our representatives or institutions here, we still encourage you to include the school name in your question. Our last representative, but certainly not least, is from SUNY Stony Brook.
Awesome. Good evening, everyone. My name is Erin Blair. I'm one of the admissions advisors at Stony Brook. So I have a very brief overview for you all this evening. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right. All right, so what you're looking at here on the screen are a few of our sites on campus. So our West Campus, which is our main campus. Everything you think of when you think of a true college campus. So your dining facilities, your residence halls, and your academic buildings. Our campus just oversees about 1,000 acres with lots of modes of transportation, such as shuttles, buses. We even have our LIRR train stop right on our campus. Our total enrollment is around 27,000, with about 18,000 making up our undergraduate student population. All right, so we have over 200 academic programs for you all to choose from. About 100 are in the STEM field, but we are so much more than just a STEM school. with majors spanning across history, film, journalism. Some of our more popular majors at Stony Brook are engineering, computer science, psychology, business, and even undecided as well. Average class size is around 500 students in those larger lectures. However, you'd only see about 200 in person, where your core classes would dwindle down to about a 19-to-1 ratio. We do offer a few upper division programs at Stony Brook, similar to our other SUNY institutions. So our schools of nursing, social welfare, health technology management, medicine, and dental medicine programs. So through these programs, you'd be taking the applicable coursework necessary during your first few years, where during your junior, senior year, you would apply for admission into one of these upper division programs. So at Stony Brook, we do offer unique programs that give you all as students exposure to language, different experiential learning opportunities, internships, and much more. So experiential learning is a really big buzzword that we really pride ourselves in at Stony Brook, where you all are truly immersing yourselves into your collegiate experience. So what I love about Stony Brook is that all of these experiential learning opportunities that you see here on the screen, study abroad, internships, research, different shadowing experiences, can all be done as early as your first year, as well as outside of your academic discipline as well. All right, so student engagement, probably the slide that you all have been waiting for, because once you get here, what is there to do? What can you get involved with? So at Stony Brook, we have a few Stony Brook traditions that happen annually. We have residential programming opportunities if you choose to live on campus. We have concerts where artists are coming and performing for you all. We have student-led showcases and much, much more happening on our campus. So we have over 350 clubs and organizations for you all to choose from. And then there's also a wide variety of club and intramural sports for those who are interested as well. All right, so living on campus. So it is not required that you live on campus any of the 4 years that you're a Stony Brook student. However, we have 3 brand new first-year undergraduate communities, one in innovation and technology, another in social justice, and then the last being in global health and awareness. So upon applying for housing, you can choose which one of these communities you resonate with the most. They're not necessarily associated with your major. First year students, you all typically would primarily be in corridor style housing, and then typically paired with 1 to 2 other students, where your upperclassmen years, you can choose between suite style or apartment style. So just taking a quick look at our deadlines and procedures for first year applicants. So January 15th is our application priority deadline. So we are not in early action or an early decision school. We're on a rolling admissions basis. With that being said, the absolute latest that you could hear back from us regarding your admission decision is April 1st, with May 1st being when you would submit your deposit. So looking at this slide here, just some of the materials that we're looking for as a first year student. So you can apply online through the Common App, SUNY app, or the Coalition app. You can use whichever application your school recommends. We do not have a preference. Personal essay is either included with your application, or it's a supplement, or it can be uploaded into your applicant portal. High school transcript, so that can be sent through the Common App or the SUNY app. It can be emailed to us or mailed to us. Letters of recommendation, so we only require 1, typically see 2 to 3, but we only require 1, and it could be from a high school teacher or counselor. And then we are test optional for all programs for 23, except for 2 of our honors programs. So looking at this screen here, there are many different pathways into Stony Brook. So we don't work on minimums. We don't have admissions requirements. What you're looking at is the middle 50% of last year's class. So what were students coming in with that were granted successful admission into Stony Brook with respect to GPA and if they submitted test scores. So first year students were roughly coming in around a 92 to a 98 GPA, and then around 1,300 to a 1,500 SAT score. So EOP, our Educational Opportunity Program, students were roughly coming in around that 86 to a 92 with around a 1070 to an 1170 SAT score. Important to note with EOP admissions, you need to be both academically and financially eligible for admission. And then should you not be reviewed, granted admission upon EOP, you would then be considered for general admission. So transfer students is yet another pathway into Stony Brook. You need at least 24 credits completed at that previous institution with around a 2.8 cumulative GPA. And then lastly, if you are coming in from high school with any credits, we do accept AP credit with you having received a 3 or better on the exam, IB credit 5 or higher, and then any college credits that you might be taking if you've earned C's or better. And then wrapping up, looking at cost of attendance. So tuition is just over $7K for the academic year with around $3,500 in fees. Should you wish to live on campus, because remember, it is not required. It's additional $15,000, for room and board. Similar to our other SUNY institutions, over 75% of our students, they do receive financial aid. And then about 70% of our students, they do receive some sort of scholarship, merit-based or need-based or institutional award as well. So as you can see, as a SUNY institution, for most of our students, Stony Brook is not only a smart choice academically, but also financially as well. So that is all I have for a formal presentation. If anybody has any follow-up questions, I will be in the chat.
Great, thank you. And all great information from all our representatives. We do have some time left. And so at this time, we're going to go ahead now and pivot into our Q&A portion of this session. I invite all our representatives at this time to go ahead and turn on their cameras to get ready to unmute themselves for our first question here, which is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? What advice would you give someone going through the college search process? And we'll go ahead and get started in the same order in which you all presented in.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's a great question, and I would just say kind of embrace the process. You know, a lot of students that we speak with always say they're intimidated and kind of nervous, and it's an end-all kind of be-all situation. So just kind of remember, you know, you're in the driver's seat here. There's a lot of colleges, schools out there, so you want to just make sure you're picking and finding the right one for you. Yeah, so just definitely embrace the process. Don't be nervous. It's fun.
My advice would be to use your college counselor and us, because we are a team. We're ultimately trying to find the best fit for you. And if that's not us, like, that's fine. We are always trying to help you find the best fit for yourself. So ask us questions, and just kind of keep that line of communication open.
I would recommend, especially as I've had so many family members go through this entire college process, to essentially just write out questions and use that as a tool to kind of compare colleges and universities. There's so many of us out there that I know that sometimes students just don't know, and kind of prioritize what do you think is more important to you, and go with that gut feeling, and that will help you determine whether you want to go far away, stay close to home. Are you looking for a really large school, a really small schools? There are schools out there that only have 500 students in them, and they're 4-year schools. So kind of have that conversation and kind of narrow down your college list that way.
Going off of that a little bit, I think, especially if you're planning on going away and living on campus, the campus environment is going to play such a big role in your experience, not just the academics, right? Like if you're living at home and you're commuting, the academics are always going to be the most important, but then at the end of the day, you're going back home to your home, your family, your people. If you're living on campus, you're in a completely different ballpark. So I think it's really important to consider what each campus atmosphere is like, and really visit if you have the opportunity. And a lot of times you will know when you visit campus, and you meet the students there and you meet the staff, if that's a place that you're going to be comfortable living in or not.
Okay, so my colleagues have stolen all the great answers, but just to piggyback off of what they were all saying, I would highly recommend just visiting the campuses that you are interested in, and just seeing if you can honestly picture yourself there. Be honest with yourself, trust your gut. Even if it comes down to finances in terms of which school is more affordable for you, that's an honest, decision there, right? Because coming out, debt is real in terms of student loans. So just be honest about, your college decision, and talk to different students that are there, current students. Can you see yourself, in the dining facility with them, living on campus with them? Because that's where you're going to ultimately spend your next 4 years. So that would be my advice.
All great advice. It's always extremely helpful to hear directly from representatives who work and talk to students and families on a daily basis to offer advice and suggestions, especially for those who are going through the college search process right now. Our next question here is, what's one thing you want students to remember about your school? What's one thing you want students to remember about your school?
Yeah, so for us, it's definitely that we are a career-oriented, hands-on school, right? So I'll say it again, career-oriented, hands-on school. Our whole focus is just how are we helping, the students build the skill set they need to eventually transition to the job that they want.
For SUNY New Paltz, I'd love for students to remember that we really cater to someone that wants to be a lifelong learner. We find that in our mission, it's not about just kind of shipping you after 4 years and say goodbye. We want to build that lifelong partnership. And if that means that you come back to New Paltz to redo your resume, to kind of help you within your journey, that's really what we're here for. We're not just a college for those 4 years, we're really a partnership.
I would say with the SUNY Oswego experience, it's really about meeting students where they are. And I think that's where our faculty really excel. I've been long enough, I've worked with so many New York City students. I've had students say, I want to major in music. I've never played a piano in my entire life. And they come in as a first-year student in music, and I've seen them leave as professional pianists. So you just never know. And I think that's what's unique about this campus community, that we have students that come with their dreams and aspirations, and they leave as successful graduates to pursue their dreams.
At Oneonta, I would definitely say it's the level of support that our students get, and we're really focused on making sure that you can cater your college experience to get the most out of it that's going to benefit you. And that means a lot of different things for a lot of different students. So coming in, taking the time to transition through your first semester and then really sit and think about, like, what do you want to get out of this experience? I'll have a lot of students that do like independent studies, that do a lot of one-on-one work, that work on side research projects. So no creative ideas like too far-fetched, and don't be afraid to like speak up, advocate for yourself, and let our faculty and staff know like what are the things that you're interested in that you want to do, because we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to do that before you leave.
And for Stony Brook, I would just say just the different opportunities for experiential learning, much like our other SUNY schools that are here with us, just the opportunity to get started early, and our university hospital that we have located on our campus for different shadowing experiences, research. So just the opportunity and the unique programs that we offer associated with internships and all that fun stuff.
All great information and things to remember each institution by. Our last question here is, what is one myth you would like to debunk on the college admissions process? What is one myth you would like to debunk on the college admissions process?
Yeah, I'll take the easy one. I think we touched on it before, but the essays, right? So, a lot of students think we don't read the essays, everything like that, but we definitely do all read the essays. So you want to make sure that's your chance to kind of have your personality and identity shine through. So just make sure you're taking the proper time with that.
Yeah, piggybacking on the essays, I think it's really important for students to know you don't have to talk about the most traumatic thing that has ever happened to you. I think that those are the moments of growth, and it's very obvious when we experience that growth, but growth can happen in many different ways. You don't have to disclose anything you're uncomfortable with. You can just talk about your own experiences and authentically without feeling like you have to expose yourself out there. But we are reading these essays. That is 100% correct.
Ditto. I guess we wouldn't require anything we wouldn't read, right? We're not Penn State. That's why they flat out say we don't require essays for that particular reason, because they won't read them. In our case, I would say units matter. I think sometimes students think I want to drop everything senior year and just coast through gym and 1 or 2 electives. I tell students, continue challenge yourself academically. That's the whole purpose of high school, is to prepare you for your college experience. So take advantage of all the course offerings your school has to prepare you for that college experience.
Just to give a different answer, I guess. I would say don't knock off or cross anything off your list cost-wise until you get a financial aid award. So a lot of schools do have, and for the most part, almost all of us are SUNYs, and so cost is the same. But depending on what your list looks like, if there's somewhere that you really want to go or somewhere that you're really interested in, don't cross that off until you're offered a financial aid award, because you really don't know until you see that package what it's going to cost you to attend a certain school.
Lastly, something that I would say for debunking the admissions process is SAT scores, test scores. So opt in, opt out, it's your choice entirely, right? So if you do choose to opt out, there's no negative impact to you as an applicant, and we would just review you based on your other materials, right? So that would be something that I wanted to put out there.
Great, thank you to each of our representatives for being here, for sharing. What a great Q&A session. Really enjoyed it myself, so thank you. And thank you to each of you for joining us. We have now reached the conclusion of this session. As we close, there'll be a very quick 5-question survey that will appear on your browser. If you don't mind taking a moment to fill that out for us, we would greatly appreciate it. This is one of many college presentations being offered tonight, so feel free to check the schedule on the website for more. And lastly, this session is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/Brooklyn Tech. Again, thank you all and have a great night.